What if I said a few simple mistakes with really easy fixes could be the difference between flat, dull or overworked art and transformative, effortless and really fun art? Today we're going to look at 4 of the most common mistakes I see people making in my workshops and in my online classes, and really simple ways that we fix them and that you can start putting into action today. Firstly, knowing when to stop. When do we stop painting? We have these lovely bits of line work and then we just keep going and going and going with our colour, and before you know it the page is brimming with midtones and it's not very exciting. Everyone wants to know, how do I know when to stop painting? And it's easy. It is really easy. You just have to go in with a little bit of a plan. Instead of painting and painting and painting and painting and assuming at some point you'll just know that I have to stop. Magically, it will come to me like a whisper in the wind. No, what you need to do is go in with a simple plan. Pick a theme. Perhaps you'll pick roofs. You've got a lovely scene filled with roofs. Now those roofs are your theme and you're not going to paint any of them. You'll just leave them nice and blank. That way you can focus your colour, your effort on everything else. You've got this natural place not to paint and you'll probably find it works pretty well. But the magic thing about picking a theme and deciding on something is you can flip it around. What if you decide roofs are the only thing you're going to paint? Maybe roofs and a few shadows, and you approach your same scene that way. You'll probably find it works. So what is it that unifies roofs being painted and roofs not being painted? Is that you went in with a plan, you decided on something, and that theme could be people, that theme could be buildings, it could be the sky, it could be greenery, shrubs. As long as you pick something and decide not to paint it, or decide to only paint it, it will work. Secondly, forgetting that the key to depth and to fascinating images is contrast, not colour. Being too pernickety, picking out every little colour in the scene can make things feel busy, not exciting. Choosing a few key colours, but really focusing on contrast, on light and dark, now you have something. And the biggest thing that I see happening is people really care, really care about their colours matching the scene beautifully. And what happens if we ignore colour completely, do you think? What if we just make it black and white? Or not even black and white, abstract, monochrome, duochrome, but you focus only on approaching your painting to make sure you get the light and the dark. Well, if you get the light and the dark, it will look great. So, easy fix. Simplify your palette. Just focus on the light and the dark. Maybe use your ink to create the blackest blacks, and then you'll paint in 1 or 2 layers to create the middle shadows and leave it at that. You might just find, even if you're very abstract with your colours, everything pops, is exciting, is fun, and it's quicker to do. And if you want to use this to then move on and create a more busy, exciting, colourful sketch, great. If you find this kind of thing useful, if you like these little hints and tips, then you'll probably enjoy my free course. My courses are in-depth, but they are this style of teaching. You get feedback, which I think is really important. Any comments, any art you want to post in my courses, I will personally come and comment on. And we cover, especially in the beginner's course, all of these concepts, ideas, common challenges and simple ways to just start creating and enjoying it a bit more. So if you want to do that, you can join me on sketchloose.co.uk. Link is down below and you can start with a totally free course. Number 3, and we're back to the line work now, and this one is the big one. Overthinking perspective, imagining all these rules that you have to follow. One line goes like that, another one like that. So the vanishing point is here, which is where the horizon line is. Line here, this, but that one here seems to be that one line. That doesn't line up. Why isn't that one line? Why do none of these line up? Why is perspective so hard? Because we try too hard and we overthink our perspective. We know there's all these rules and we get lost in them. Now, if you do want to know the rules, I have a really simple video which people seem to like. They seem to think it simplifies things in a way that makes it understandable. So I'll put a link to that down below. But I'm going to argue today that even that is overcomplicating things. What happens if we take a scene with admittedly complex perspective, and we try and draw out all of those guidelines, all of those rules? Well, eventually it goes wrong. It doesn't work. One of the rules doesn't fit, or we get it wrong, and that mistake is really obvious because our lines are so rigid. Even if we construct a scene using rules, it doesn't feel real, and that is because we have overthought it and forgotten to just draw what we see. We've got all these guidelines and we forget that the world is messy and complex. The guidelines are great if every wall is at a perfect 90 degree, all aligned, all neat, all perfect, all wonderful. But it's not like that. So instead, simple solution: draw from sight, cite your perspective. And there's an easy way to do this. You take your pen, you pop it either in your vision, you hold your pen out so it lines up in your vision with an angle of a roof. Or, if you've got a reference photo, you put the pen on your photo, line it up with that angle. Now you have an angle to move over and put on your page, and you have, magically, the angles in your scene. And if you have a couple of key angles, all the rest can just sort of flow in the middle. So stop overthinking it, don't worry about all these rules. Yes, learn them eventually if you want, but don't let that stop you from enjoying creating flowing, useful perspective. Now, as a little bonus, issue number 4 is a really important one, and that is rushing to the finish. I always teach in a process. I go, there's 5 steps. And that's not because you have to follow 5 steps, but because if you have a process which has gaps in it, it lets you take a step back, make a coffee. I know this says tea on it, but obviously it's got coffee in it. And then just reevaluate. And that way you'll find you're not rushing, you're not overworking, you've got time to appreciate what's happening on the page. So if there was a secret 4th mistake and a simple process to correct that, it would be take your time, trust the process. If you find yourself rushing, just stop. Now, if all that was a little bit interesting or a little bit useful, then please do subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.